Hey, fellow staff members. This is Eric. I want to put together hopefully as quick a training as possible for all of these folks that we are trying to assimilate this summer, these hundreds of people. And want to put together some documents, some training to help really get us all on the same page so that all of us are working from a standardized kind of process so that we can alleviate as many holes and cracks for people to fall through and opportunities for miscommunication and division as we seek really to on ramp as many people as possible in an effective, efficient, and hopefully timely manner as we lead up to August 12th and move on forward than that. And so, um, ultimately, thanks for taking some time really to, come take this training, um, or really not come take the training, but actually watch the training. So, thanks again. As we begin this training, I want to give you a little overview of what we are going to cover here. First, we are going to communicate for you what you can expect from us from mobilization. The other thing, what we expect from you as a staff member. The third thing, what we don't expect from you as a staff member. And then we're going to be heavily looking at documents and the guidelines, so on and so forth. So this first slide, what you can expect from mobilization. So for every single person that comes through to be assimilated, once they're in a place for you as a ministry area to either personally follow up with, or if you've brought some people on board to help in this process, you will receive a contact just as normal through Fellowship One. So you will be the only person as staff that has Fellowship One access. If you bring somebody in to help, which we'll be talking with you about in the days ahead, only you have the ability to use F1. So even if they do the interview or if they call and set up the interview and then do the interview, ultimately you have to work the F1 contact for them. So you're going to expect a contact from us there. Not only that, you'll get the interview folder as you're accustomed to, just like if it was a normal follow-up from servant lead orientation. With a couple tweaks. You're going to receive the participants' relevant documents, so they're going to have their Next Steps backstory, my story, all the documents from Next Steps. Now, some people might be coming to us who took Starting Point or even newcomers, and if that's the case, they may or may not have the backstory documents. Fourth, the servant leader follow-up checklist. This is something that I created recently to really help us all get on the same page to make sure we're all checking off everything that we need to do, given the amount of people. We'll look at that here in a second. You'll also receive a blank coaching document, which is what is currently used in the coaching portion of the servant leader orientation. Now, this summer, because we're doing mini events, we decentralized the coaching. And instead of doing coaching during the event, now we've combined the interview on a ministry level with the coaching. So that's kind of what we're calling you to, is not just an interview for your ministry area, but also a little bit more responsibility in working through the coaching document. We'll go through that here in a second. As far as, when the process is complete, if we receive the folder and the F1 contact back from you on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, we commit to you as the mobilization department to get that assignment ready to go by that Sunday. Now, if you get to us the folder and the F1 contact, we have to have both of them, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, our commitment to you as a mobilization department is to get you that assignment by next Sunday. So you're gonna have to wait. If you get it on Wednesday, it's not going to be that immediate Sunday. It'll be the Sunday, that next Sunday. So hopefully that makes sense to you, and we're always available for questions or clarification. Now, what we expect from you, we as the mobilization team really want to support you in this endeavor. We want to be a support ministry for you. And so we need your buy-in, your help. And so first we need you to communicate effectively with participants that you get, your contacts. Now, communicate effectively is chosen on purpose because that cannot only just be an email. It needs to be more than an email. unless that person automatically responds. But if you send an email and you don't hear from that person in a couple days, because of just the amount of people that we have to get through, we need to pick up the phone and call them, because ultimately we need to make sure that we set up a meeting within 10 business days. So that's not just make a communication effort in 10 business days. That means that by the 10th day that you have effectively communicated with that person and have set up a meeting to coach and to interview them for your ministry area. You need to be the point person, the third thing there, for any non-staff helping you to over communicate. So we're working on the possibility of trying to get maybe some non-staff help for a short period of time, or even if you just have some unpaid servant leaders who have some time during the day that can come up and help you. We'll talk more about what that looks like in person, but if you have anybody who's non-staff helping you, you need to be the point person for them, because ultimately you're going to be working the F1 contact. You're going to be putting any notes that they take into F1, and so we encourage you to over communicate with them. In preparation for your interview or your meeting interview coaching, we want you to review all the material on that participant that you get through the participant interview folder. We really want you to familiarize yourself with that. We'll look at some of that here shortly. We want you to take notes and fill out the coaching sheet thoroughly. We'll look a little bit more of that when we look at that here in this training. We want you to work hard to update any of the information for folks so that their contact information is up to date. We need you to, when you sit down with them, make sure their contact information is up to date. We want you to update us as Mobilization as needed and really keep us in the loop. What I've come to realize shortly of kind of overseeing this area is that where we fail mostly between mobilization and ministry areas is that we assume things. We assume that you know what we want, or you assume that we know what you want, and ultimately we just need to really keep each other in the loop, keep us updated, over communicate. And in the end, I think we can work together to get people efficiently through this process. You, as a staff member, are personally working F1 contact from beginning to end. Even if you have a non-staff member helping you, coordinating the interview or doing the interview in place of you, ultimately you're responsible as a staff member. And then after the coaching interview, if your area is not a good fit, inform that participant that our team will be in contact them soon. So that's kind of what we expect from you. Here's what we don't expect from you. We don't expect you to review somebody's salvation story unless you want to personally and or are required by your ministry area supervisor. I think the student ministry is required to talk with them about their salvation story, but that will be done in next steps, and part of our next steps pledge to you in the assimilation area is to get somebody to you that we've already walked through their salvation story. And then the second thing, what we don't expect you to make promises or commitments that are, one, unreasonable, or two, have not been clear with mobilization. We'll get for instance, if you make a promise on a Friday during an interview to have that person assigned and ready to go on that immediate Sunday, well, one, that's unreasonable for mobilization, and two, that goes against kind of what we've asked you to do as far as getting it to us on time, and then our kind of time frame of getting that assignment. Now, if it's an incredibly important reality and you need to talk to us about that, let us know. Again, clearly communicate, but please don't make any promises, whether it's you or a non-staff person, that are unreasonable or have not been agreed upon with mobilization. So we want to support you, but at the same time, as much as you want us to respect kind of the workload that you have, our workload this summer is dramatically increased as we try to get through about 550 people. So just to give you a kind of a deal, that's almost a year and a half's worth of assimilation done in 2 months. And so please extend us some grace as we extend you guys some grace in this area. Now, what I wanted to do is help you look at this servant leader follow-up checklist. This is something that I, as Eric, have created to really help us all get on the same page. We need you to thoroughly fill these checklists out for each individual participant, whether it's you or a non-staff person who you've brought in to help. we need everybody to follow this checklist, because if we do that, then we're going to all succeed. Not only are we going to help you get people mobilized, but you're going to have more servant leaders than you had in a long, long time. So I'm going to give you a kind of a large view of the front side of this servant leader document. You see it has a section for their name at the very top, a section prior to the meeting that we want you to go through, fill in the information, check the check boxes as you make your way through it, a section for the meeting, and a section for post-meeting with a little information at the bottom. So going to work through this. This is the front side. On the back side of this document is the mobilization kind of servant leader interview page that you will also fill out as well. So this is kind of what you go back to as you follow through, as you follow with these people through the process. So up at the top, you have a place to put their name. More than likely, we as mobilization will put the name of that person up there for you, so you won't have to write that in. But if it's empty, please go ahead and help us out by putting their name. Now, in the section prior to the meeting, we want you, for accountability purposes, to record the date that you received the F1 contact. The second there is we want you then to set up a face-to-face meeting. We want you to put down the day where you effectively contacted that person. So if it was an email and they responded really quick and you set up a meeting, we want you to put it down there. But if it took a couple days to get them to respond, you had to call them by phone, go ahead and put that date there. And then right underneath there, the date of the meeting to interview and coach. And so as you make your way through these checklists, go ahead and make sure not only put the information, the dates and whatnot, but also actually check those check boxes off. You see a little information there about the 10 business days. The next is record those dates above and any pertinent information in the F1 contact. So if you're doing this as a staff person, that's going to be easy. But if you have somebody coming in to help you, just go ahead and put those dates in when you receive this back from that person that is helping you. We've given you a little bit of information down there that at this point, this is not where you close the contact. The only time that you're going to forward this back to us at this point is if you've contacted them and they've said, hey, they're no longer interested in serving. And then as a staff member, every time that you transfer a contact in F1, you have to put a disposition. And so you can use that disposition. We want that disposition used when somebody's no longer interested. Now on the back side of this, there is a place for which dispositions to use in a certain situation. It's kind of a cheat sheet for you. We want everybody to be on the same page as far as which dispositions to use and when to use them. The next section there is we want you to review all the material on that servant leader prior to the meeting, to take some time during your week, during your day, to look at mobilization's notes on the back side of this, the interview form. So if there's any issues with baptism or background checks that you as a ministry person need to know, please review that. We'll have that filled in when you get the folder to begin with. We're going to include the next steps documents as usual, at least the backstory and the my story. Familiarize yourself with at least the backstory and the my story if they have it. If they don't have that, don't even worry about it. And then the servant leader application with their top two choices will be on there as well. And then we want you to take a time really to review the servant leader orientation coaching sheet and prepare for the coaching and interview session. And so there will be a coaching video on that. It's going to be a part of this right there at that link once we get it done. Now, this section right here at the bottom of the page is for the meeting and the post-meeting. And so those three check boxes, take notes and fill out the coaching sheet thoroughly. We want you to thoroughly fill out the coaching sheet. You don't necessarily have to do it during the meeting, but we want you to take notes to fill it out if that's you, or you can fill it out during the meeting, however you're wired. We want you to put the day of the meeting. If there's any contact information that needs to be updated, we want you to update that on the coaching sheet. You want to fill out the staffing assignment section on the servant leader interview, which is the back side of this sheet. That's going to help us as mobilization know when they are to be assigned. Post-meeting, we want you to record notes from your interview into the F1 contact, any pertinent information that we need to know. We want you to record the appropriate disposition. Again, there's a cheat sheet on the back side of this document. Then forward that F1 contact back to Michelle Burkle. Then place the coaching sheet, the checklist, / interview sheet along with all the original paperwork back into the folder, and then return that to mobilization. Once we as mobilization receive that F1 contact via F1, and then we have that servant leader folder, we're going to work really hard to get that assignment finalized. And like I said earlier, if you get both the F1 contact and the interview folder back to us Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we'll have that assignment ready by that Sunday, that upcoming Sunday. But if you get the F1 contact to us and the interview folder back to us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, we'll have that assignment ready by that next Sunday. So as we try to clearly communicate that, hopefully we'll come alongside and support that on the ministry side. Once you finalize, you'll receive a communication, or once we finalize, you'll receive a confirmation email. And then please send a reminder, let your servant leader know when to show up. I know we'll talk about this here in a second, but when they leave that interview, we want them to know the date that they're going to show up, and we just want you to remind them that way. Now here's the disposition guide. So the top section is those are the dispositions that you use only when transferring a contact back to mobilization once you've had the interview, or if they've told you they're no longer interested. These are the only ones that we want to use. We want to standardize this. We want everybody to know this is when they're used. And then the bottom section is for your use only as you're working the contact. So during the process or prior to your meeting, you can use these for dispositions. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. You can look at that yourself. This is the back side of the checklist. This is the new interview sheet that replaces the one that you would normally get with the interview folder. And so the way it works up here is that you have a name of the potential servant leader. You'll have it prepared by, if it's Michelle Cobble, Michelle Burkle, or another mobilization staff. You'll see which box is checked, which area they're interested in serving into. If there's any information that you as a ministry lead or those who are working with you or for you in this endeavor, if there's anything with the My Story Baptism Servant Leader application that you need to know about to talk about or to frame your conversation, we'll put it there. If there's anything outside of those three things that you need to know, we'll put it underneath the other. In the middle of the sheet here really is what, after you finish the coaching sheet, this is really the assignment. So after you figured out that, through your interview, through your coaching, that this is where this person is, we want you to put your name, when you completed it, what type of interview, if it's in person, which is the preferable, or phone, which is a last resort. And if it's over the phone and it's a legitimate reason that they can't meet in person, put out to the right there why it was a phone interview. Again, we want to engage souls, engage people, look at people in the face, not just do it through virtual communication. Now, we get it. Sometimes it has to happen. But again, when people are engaged face to face, we get to see their face, get to know who they are, and they can really make that relational connection. The staffing assignment right there, you have the jobs, whatever their job is. The schedule, is it an every week? Is it every other week? And then the service time. You have the 9 a.m., 10:30 main, 10:30 building F. So that's our second venue, 12 p.m. or other, which is like a day of the week. If that works itself out, that's probably going to be what student ministry uses. And then Stonegate Odessa will use this last checkbox, and then what time. So you see the example down there, 6th grade boys discussion leader every week at 12 p.m. service. So that's what we need back from you so that we can get that assignment taken care of. So ultimately, that's the new checklist and interview sheet. Now, as we move away here, I just want to kind of give you guys just some insight that the people with the backstory document, we in Next Steps have really worked hard to make this backstory document an incredibly insightful, holistic document that can really give you a picture into somebody's life. And so I kind of did my own personal backstory for you. So down at the bottom of the first page, you have significant events, milestones, and other life influences. Now, everybody doesn't always fill this out, but as you can see with me on the right-hand side, the influences of my life was my grandfather, World War II vet. That can kind of shape kind of the type of person that I am. Glenn, my college boss, if you as an interviewer talk to me about that, I would share with you that Glenn was who God used to evangelize me and point me to Jesus and disciple me. Matt Chandler, Tim Keller, and J.D. Greear are pretty much the three main influences in my life right now. And then you see on the left-hand side some events and milestones. I come from a divorced home, single family, live with our grandparents. We moved from Denver to Andrews. That's a huge culture shock. My parents were remarried but divorced. I went to college in San Angelo, saved in 2000, married 2002, and I became a father. So these are influences, milestones that can help you get insight into a person. It's great preparation. This is the backside. This is the backside of that page. In what we've done here is up at the top, we've kind of given you some insight into a person's past interaction with Christianity, church, or non-Christian religion. So you see, for me, that I attending church or any organized religion was not part of my upbringing. So I came from a very un-Christian environment. And then when I came into contact with Christianity, I had Church of Christ influence, which I struggled with assurance of salvation, once saved, always saved type of thing, Catholicism, works righteousness, Baptist, and then charismatic. And so that's kind of, you can kind of see the influences in my life, or for the person that you're coaching, you can see their influences. Now, these three bottom questions are pretty important. This helps you get an insight to see if they have a question about us as a church, our philosophy, mission, values, or any questions that we can answer. You can get an insight into kind of what drives them or what they see as a way to solve a problem in our society. For me, it would be fatherlessness. I grew up in a broken home. Dad really wasn't involved. That's something huge about me. What dream or desire do I feel that God has given me? Really, I ultimately want to build with a team a disciple training institute, a residency program that's connected to a local church to really develop disciples who make disciples. That's one of my dreams to do. And then the next page here, this is the kind of the last page. You see up at the top, any really interaction with the local church. So I served as a youth pastor at a different church. I've also been a Sunday school teacher. I've led a mentoring group, a home group, Bible study. I've been a discussion leader. I've hosted a group, and I've also worked with youth. And so that's me. You can see the mission trips right there that I've been on, national, local, and international. This can be very helpful going forward for us as we try to make connections with other agencies or other initiatives around the world. You see the career job experience that I have oil field experience, and I've also delivered hair care, which is kind of interesting, and been a youth pastor. And then down at the bottom, gifts, talents, and skills, computer, so on and so on. You can see that. Ultimately, this is to help you understand a person so that you can, as you sit down and coach and interview them, that you can get an idea of where they might best fit in your ministry area. So ultimately, the backstory is a great document to familiarize yourself with. Now, as we move away from that, we want to give you guys an insight into the coaching sheet. Now, this is used currently in the servant leader orientation, the last portion of the second week. But again, we said we decentralize this, and we're asking ministry areas to do this. This summer with such a large amount of folk coming through. So we want to give you guys an overview, kind of what we expect. Again, this is what the front side what the front side looks like. You have the participant information, step 1, step 2. We've tried to give you guys a document that you can follow really easily. So if we kind of focus in here, you have the date, name, service area choice 1 and 2, coach's name, and best form of contact. One of our commitments to you is to make sure that this is filled out in mobilization, the service area 1 and 2, their date, or we'll put their name And the two choices up there, we want you to put your name, or if it's somebody helping you, want their name there. And we want to make sure the best form of contact is updated by that participant. Now, step one here is we want you to just simply ask that person what was their takeaway from servant lead orientation. We want to know how they were affected, challenged, or encouraged through servant lead orientation. We want you to notate that there. Now, again, this is where you need to double check that this on the interview sheet, where they're interested in serving in, matches the service area number 1 and 2 right here. That's kind of why we went back to the interview sheet. Once that's good and you've gone through step 1, step 2 is asking this person, why do you want to serve or invest in this ministry area? So if your kids area and they're wanting to serve either in a specific area or just generally, we want you to ask them, why do they want to serve in this area? There's some coaching prompts down at the bottom that you can look through, ideas that can help you be effective in this area. So again, we just want to know, why do they want to invest in this ministry area? Again, this is a document to help you during the coaching process, the coaching/interview process. On the back side of this, you have the gather and the scatter. We reinforce it in Servant Leader that when we gather as a church on Sunday or during the week, and when we scatter into our homes, our neighborhoods, our places of work, that we are to be on mission in both of those areas. So we want to ask them, or we want you to notate this, is that what area will this person serve in? Again, this is where you can write some notes if this person's going to serve in this part of our ministry, and we want to know that did it change from his or her application. So after you talk with them and you looked at their backstory and you sat down and looked them in the eye, and is that person really good for the area that they want to serve in, or maybe it's a different area, and we want you to notate it there. And then the scatter option is we want you to ask them, fact find again, are they already connected and serving with a nonprofit in our community or nonprofit around us? If so, which ones? Again, this is kind of just discovery information. And then if there's any other possible connections that come up in your conversation that you thought or that you think might be beneficial for us as a fellowship, you can put it in that other possible connections area. Now, this bottom section right here is for you during the coaching sheet so that you can take notes to fill in the assignment section in the coaching interview sheet that we already went by. So there's a start date. When are they available to start? Can they serve which time? 9, 10:30 Main, 10:30 North, noon, weekday, special events, Odessa. And then a space for any additional comments. Again, we want you to clearly communicate with these people so that when they leave the interview, that both you and they know when they're going to show up and begin either shadowing and serving. And so whether it's shadowing or serving, we want them to have an assignment. So that being said, again, what you tell them needs to be consistent to what we have told you, that if you get it to us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, that they're not going to serve that immediate Sunday, that they'll come back that following Sunday would be the first possible time where they can serve. But if you have an interview or somebody interviews for you, and we get that F1 contact back and the interview folder back with all these documents completed on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, we'll get it turned around and have that assignment ready for that immediate following, or the immediate next Sunday. So ultimately, we need you to be clear on that. Support us as we support you. Now, as I jump out, I'm going to go back to, this is where you take that information that you wrote down in the notes section on the coaching sheet and you fill this out to make sure they are the same thing. Again, we need to know the job, the schedule every week, every other week, or something other than that, service time, and then use these dispositions to go ahead and fill out in F1 the contact, and then we go back here. This is the checklist. Go back to the post-meeting thing where you've recorded the notes, into the F1 contact, the date, you've recorded the appropriate disposition from this list right here. You've forwarded that contact back to Michelle Burkle. You've placed all the checklist, the interview sheet, along with all the interview documents that you received firsthand, along with the coaching sheet. Put it back in the folder and get it back to mobilization, and then we're going to work hard to get that assignment turned out to you. So ultimately, this is our goal. This is our hope. We want to work alongside of you, support you, and get these people assimilated as fast as possible. But in the end, we can't do this as mobilization alone. You can't do this as a ministry area alone. We need to support one another. We've worked really hard to try to cut down on some inefficiencies, and we are going to up the game in mobilization. We want you to up the game in the ministry area, and we want to work together to see these people really come alive as they serve in our ministry area. So if you have any questions or need any clarification, please don't hesitate to contact me, Eric, and we'll work through this. Again, thank you so much for your time. I know this has been about a 30-minute training, but hopefully it'll be beneficial as we all get on the same page moving forward. Thanks, guys.